Since the very beginning, man has been on a quest.
Imagine a world lit only by fire and the moon. And that's what our life would be like.
A quest to reproduce the sun's glorious daylight, artificially.
You couldn't have meetings at night because you couldn't see. You couldn't get together for sports. You couldn't travel when you wanted to travel safely.
A quest fueled by man's need and desire to extend the day and to make dark places habitable. In recent years, this quest has been marked by constant change.
I've been in lighting now 22 years as a professional. More has changed in the last 2 years than the previous 20.
We're continually discovering new things about how light impacts all of us.
Light affects us in many ways. I think we're all aware of that. A bright sunny day, you step out, you feel good. We're just starting to understand the effect of light on the human body.
Where has this quest taken us? What challenges and opportunities lie ahead? How will artificial light illuminate our future? Change, as they say, is constant. But it's only natural to resist change when it means giving up something you need and you've been using as far back as you can remember. Especially when that something is easy to use and relatively inexpensive. Consider Exhibit A, the incandescent light bulb. With the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007, the U.S. federal government is phasing out the incandescent light bulb. First on the hit list, the 100-watt bulb.
The incandescent is being phased out because it's so inefficient. It was invented 130 years ago and it's never changed. We've got such good technology now where we can use 1/10 of the energy.
When I was a kid, my mom would send me to the store and I'd buy a 60-watt light bulb and I knew what that meant. Nowadays, you could buy, say, a technology that was 15 watts that might produce the same amount of light. So there's going to have to be a lot of clarification for the consumer and by the consumer on exactly what light is.
Instead of buying a 60-watt bulb, you can now buy a 13-watt compact fluorescent, a 10-watt LED, or a 40-watt halogen bulb, and save 25% in energy consumption. We will also need to pay closer attention to the color each bulb emits. Is it a warm yellow color which creates a relaxing atmosphere? Or is it a cool blue color, like a sunny blue sky, which will make us more alert? A vast array of different light sources are headed our way. Change will be fast and furious. At times, it's going to be confusing, frustrating, and even intimidating, especially at first. But there's no standing in the way of progress.
New products, new ideas is going to come much more frequent than we know. From now on, I think this lighting industry is going to move very fast and it's going to be very exciting and it's never going to be the same as we know it. I would say probably 5 or 10 years ago.
But before we stray too far into the future, let's take a brief look back at a bit of artificial lighting history. Electricity is part of our very being. It's all around us, as Benjamin Franklin demonstrated. Franklin will forever be remembered as one of America's founding fathers, a true statesman, a signer of the Declaration of Independence. However, given his choice, Franklin might not have entirely wanted it that way. After all, he had also built an international reputation as a scientist and inventor. Among his many accomplishments, he gave mankind its first true understanding of electricity and the language to describe it. Who could have known that Franklin's basic understanding of electricity would eventually lead to the light bulb? Of course, there were several key steps in between, as David DiLaura recounts in his book, A History of Light and Lighting. In 1808, a world previously lit only by fire made the leap to electric light. It happened courtesy of British chemist and inventor Humphrey Davy, and something called the arc light.
The Royal Institution had just acquired and built a tremendous electric battery. So they had, for the very first time, a powerful source of electricity. And Humphrey showed that if you brought all of that electricity to 2 carbon rods, you could establish an electric arc between those carbon rods. It was tremendously brilliant, an amazing amount of light.
The arc light was a brilliant light source, but it wasn't the small, practical source of electric light that everyone was looking for. That wouldn't come until 1879, and a prolific inventor named Thomas Alva Edison. Building on the work of other researchers like Charles Brush, who devised the first practical arc street lighting system in 1875, and Russian inventor Pavel Yablokov, who invented the first arc lamp that didn't require a complicated regulator, Edison and his associates finally came up with our longtime little friend, the incandescent light bulb.
Edison was actually a rather latecomer to this stream of people struggling to find a practical form of a small electric light source.
To make this happen, Edison knew he needed to subdivide the electric light by passing an electric current through something he called the filament.
What Edison discovered is that you need a filament made with something that will withstand very, very high temperatures and at the same time allow it to incandesce or glow with heat.
Think about this for a moment. Edison invented the modern light bulb more than 130 years ago. Today, we are still using essentially the same invention, and we use it every day and nearly everywhere.
Lighting is now in the background. It's an infrastructure. It's part of our civilization. We go to a switch on the wall and we turn on the lights. We just expect it to work.
So, if it's convenient, reliable, inexpensive, and safe, why is the government phasing out the incandescent light bulb? Without question, there are many who see this as government intruding on our private lives.
In general, my own opinion is that legislating how people purchase their technology is a bad idea. Right now, the notion by folks in government is that if they can, with reasonable assumption about new technology, disallow old technology, that they're going to form, guide, compel, force, consumer purchase the new technology. The notion right now is that LEDs are going to be ready to replace the socket of an incandescent lamp at a reasonable cost. That's not clear yet.
What is clear is that we've actually been taking our first steps away from the incandescent light bulb and into the new world of lighting choices for several years. Unless the government regulations are repealed, and that's very unlikely, there is no turning back. Those who are hoarding incandescent light bulbs will be stuck with inefficient lighting as energy costs go up.
The technology is changing. The prices are coming down. You don't need to hoard. And people who do hoard, they're going to keep consuming more and more energy as the price continues to rise. Now, if you want to pay that price, it's your choice.
Hi, how are you? Very good.
The new federal law requires that all general-purpose light bulbs be at least 25% more efficient than Edison's popular incandescent bulb. After we say goodbye to the 100-watt bulb, the 75-watt and the 60-watt bulbs will also start disappearing from store shelves. Like the dinosaur, the incandescent bulb will be extinct by 2014. Why? Incandescent bulbs waste most of their energy, a whopping 80% of it generating heat, not light. Consumers need to educate themselves on which bulb to buy for each location in the home or office.
One thing to consider when you're lighting your home is that there are different colors of light now. This is a warm colored light. It's more of a relaxing type light. You want this when you come home at night, you sit down, you relax, you've been at work all day, this will help you relax. Whereas this light, if you put it in a workspace, it's going to give you more energy because it simulates daylight type lighting. And you'll be able to see better, you'll be able to see smaller parts, you'll be able to read print better.
Compact fluorescents are more expensive than incandescents, about $2 to $5 per bulb compared to 25 to 50 cents each for incandescents. But there are several excellent trade-offs. The CFL is 75% more efficient. While the incandescent lasts between 750 and 1,000 hours, the CFL will last between 8,000 and 10,000 hours. It also uses less than half the energy of an incandescent, and the CFL only costs about 25% as much as the incandescent over a year's time.
CFLs are actually a pretty good deal, especially in a lot of states that have upstream rebates with the utilities, where sometimes I can buy 4 CFLs for $1 in a big box store.
One concern to many consumers and environmentalists is the fact that CFLs also contain trace amounts of mercury. But how real and significant is the mercury danger?
One thing I would point out is that the amount of mercury in a compact fluorescent light bulb, or even a full-size light bulb, is actually very, very small. It's only about, essentially, it's a little tiny, it's about the size of the dot at the end of a sentence.
Still, many people remain worried about the potential inhalation hazard if a CFL breaks on a floor or carpet.
We did some analysis of how much mercury is in the air when you break a compact fluorescent light bulb, and then we compared that to another way in which you get mercury in your system, which is by the eating of fish.
Since tuna is a popular fish that tends to store larger amounts of mercury in its flesh, the researchers compared the risk of mercury in the air from a broken CFL bulb to ingesting mercury found in tuna.
So he said, what's the equivalent if you inhaled the mercury as a result of that compared to what you would get if you ate some tuna? It turns out it's about the same as eating a can of tuna fish.
The next lighting choice on your menu is the halogen incandescent. It's less expensive than the CFL, but it's not as efficient. Still, it's more efficient than a standard incandescent, and it's also dimmable.
This one turns on instantly, gets instant bright. You can dim it just like a regular incandescent light bulb, and as a consumer, you won't see any difference in performance.
But the light source that has lighting experts all over the world raving is the LED, light-emitting diodes. Simply put, LEDs are often touted as the holy grail of lighting's future. They're incredibly efficient and flexible. For example, one LED bulb can have a lifespan of 25,000 hours, while only using about 15 watts of energy.
Well, they're going to be everywhere. We already know the efficacies are eventually going to surpass any other source. LEDs are the only source that will actually improve in efficacy. When I say efficacy, that's like your miles per gallon in your car. You'd look at a certain car has 20 miles per gallon. A better efficient car would be 30 miles per gallon, 40, 50. And LEDs are the same way. Low lamp sources can be rated on lumens per watt.
LED lighting technology promises tremendous energy savings and efficiency at home, and in the commercial setting too. For example, in the average commercial building, electric lighting accounts for about 25 to 40% of the energy costs.
I do energy efficient lighting consulting work, and I can usually reduce the wattage for lighting over 50% in most office buildings, classrooms, warehouses, industrial facilities.
But the promise and benefits of LEDs extend far beyond mere dollars and cents.
LEDs can do a variety of different things. They can color shift as you need them to color shift. So there's the potential you can ultimately create a room that you can change your color based on your mood or based on what you're doing. Have it brighter in the summer, cooler in the winter from a color point of view. You can integrate controls much better, and it truly becomes smart lighting, and trying to figure out how to make that the smartest lighting possible for the consumer.
I think the main thing I've noticed is I'm of the age where reading glasses are a necessity to read fine print. And since these lights have been installed, I haven't had to use my readers. They stay in their case, and I just don't need them. I can see without them.
What excites me most about lighting technology are the new solutions that will allow us to provide light more effectively than we've ever been able to do it before, just because of the scale and the long life of these LED products. If you think about task lighting, you think of in stores where we talk about highlighting merchandise. Well, we can build the lighting into all the merchandisers and have some general overhead lighting, but we truly can start getting the light closer to the product.
The human eye is best suited to see in natural daylight. The sun is nature's brilliant source of life-sustaining energy. It wakes us up. It keeps us alert during the day. And then it helps us relax in the evening before vanishing into nightfall. Thousands of years ago, we were all hunters and gatherers. But man has certainly evolved in how we use light. During the past century, we've become so accustomed to indoor lighting that we now spend 90% of our time indoors. With each passing day, we're getting closer to reproducing the most effective portions of natural daylight. From intimate yellows and oranges that make us more relaxed, to shades of blue and white that mimic the outdoor sky, making us feel refreshed, more alert, and productive. The key, the magic bullet, is to fully understand how light affects the human body and how it triggers something called our circadian rhythm, our internal body clock.
Light is required to keep us on track on a daily basis, and that daily 24-hour light-dark cycle keeps our body rhythms, our behavior, our sleep, our metabolism on a 24-hour schedule to allow us to interact properly with the outside world.
By exposing test patients to different colors and intensities of light, and then measuring their brain activity and other body responses, Dr. Lockley and his team have affirmed that blue light keeps us more alert and also helps reset our body clocks. Without the right colors and amounts of light, our system gets thrown completely out of whack. For example, we get fatigued when we work or study at night.
Often people have accidents and injuries at night because their body clock is making them sleepy, yet they're trying to stay awake and work at night.
In 2007, the World Health Organization concluded that shift work can even cause cancer, though there's still a lot of research that needs to be done to confirm that.
We're learning that shift workers have health risks associated with shift work and have increased risk of certain types of cancer, of diabetes, of cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and so on.
When we work against our body clocks, we can't digest food as well. Our heart rate is higher than it should be, and our hormone levels can be totally disrupted.
Breast cancer risk is higher in women who work shifts over a long number of years, and there's some evidence that prostate cancer is also higher in night shift workers compared to non-night shift workers.
How does the human eye detect light and process it to run our internal body clock? About 10 years ago, scientists discovered an entirely new photoreceptor system in the eye that is especially sensitive to blue light.
There seems to be this system that is there to detect day versus night or time of year, winter versus summer, that detects time of day, detects day length, and then tells our body that in order that we can synchronize our clock properly to the 24-hour light-dark cycle.
Today's design experts are using this information to design healthier environments in the home, work, and hospital settings.
We can reduce, actually, the administration of pain medication if we have good daylight for a portion of the day. If we have morning orientation, we tend to reduce depression. We can actually reduce the length of stay, which has some economic impact.
Or the perception of people in the spaces at the time.
At Harvard University, student architects are using advanced photography techniques and three-dimensional computer software to predict absolute color and lighting levels that will factor strongly in future building blueprints.
We are creating the same type of high dynamic range image with a computer and with a camera, and once we have this image, we can do a glare test on top of that and predict what's the likeliness of somebody sitting here experiencing glare.
The computer modeling is so precise that Reinhardt is using it to help fellow Harvard professor Thomas Schepfer design a new 100,000 square foot contemporary and very unique high-rise church in Western Singapore.
It's a tropical climate, right? And which means like very high humidity. Also the sun doesn't move like it moves here. It moves almost in a straight line. So it's a very different lighting condition that you find here.
The goal here is to take precise advantage of natural sunlight, minimize it where necessary, and disperse it through skylights to splash natural sunlight to all desired locations for both the preacher and the congregation. Combining electric light with natural daylight will yield benefits that far surpass saving money.
The moment we have a window or skylights, we get a different quality of light within spaces because of the spectral composition of the light that we are getting. Instead of having just the cold white light that we typically find in commercial buildings, we get a full spectrum lighting, meaning we have all the colors of the rainbow coming into our buildings.
Clearly, we are now on lighting's superhighway. There are no exits, and there's no turning back. What's next? How will lighting change the surroundings in which we live, work, and play in ways we could never have imagined? Take our old friend, the light bulb. What if the light bulb of the future was not a light bulb at all? What if, instead of a filament that lights up when energized, instead of phosphors that glow, what if future lighting emanated from the very fabric of a new form of light source? Say hello to a new friend, OLED technology, organic light-emitting diodes. This is going to change the way all of us think about lighting forever. OLEDs are paper-thin sheets of lightweight organic material, polymer plastic, that light up with a small electric charge. You've probably already noticed this technology in cell phone displays and TVs. While LEDs like this flashlight are a small, high-intensity point source of light that can be dispersed where we want it, OLEDs are a surface source of light that is spread out over an area. Very comfortable and soothing to your eyes. Most of all, OLEDs are extremely flexible, versatile, and mercury-free. They're dimmable, so you can easily adjust room or task lighting to suit your personal taste. Desk lamps and free-form constructions are unlike anything that's ever been available. When they're placed flat on a wall, OLEDs produce a uniform level of lighting across the entire surface. As amazing as these uses for OLED technology are, they pale in comparison to what awaits in the future. Are you ready for wallpaper that illuminates? It can be done using broad sheets of OLED. How about creating office dividers or general lighting panels that light up the workplace with pleasant, low-glare lighting? How about installing light where it never before existed? Making all or part of your blinds out of OLED material, for example. And how about getting even more personal?
How about you have a light that can just, they can understand you?
Nye and his team at Acuity Brands have designed just such a light. It's called the Kindred. Scheduled to be available sometime in the near future, The curved elegance of this fixture is designed to connect with those below by creating a personal oasis of light.
This kindred, this fixture, actually say that I'm here. I, the light, become your companion. And even the way that the design gesture come, the fixtures sort of come down a little bit, it's almost like tapping your shoulder and let you know that I'm always with you.
The future of OLED technology simply boggles the mind.
Once people find out what the new technologies are about and how to use them, they're going to love it, because you're going to be able to get the light that you want and the color that you want and the mood that you want. And once that light goes in, you'll never have to change that light source again.
What man will be able to do with artificial light is practically without limit. Are you ready?
It's become one of those resources that I like to call one of the silent machines of living. It's there in the background. We control it. It's ours to use. It doesn't demand very much, but it's there all the time, waiting to work for us. I think it's wonderful.